All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Inside Ultimate Rivals. I'm Breaky CBK, going to be your host as always, and looking forward to another fun week, another couple of days of Inside Ultimate Rivals stream, coming at you every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's 12 noon Pacific, and if you're in Europe over there, I believe, do the quick math, I believe that is 2100 Central European time, so there you go. Done a little bit of travels over the seas through actually the video game industry through my 10 plus years or so within it. I've been fortunate enough to have that opportunity, so I've had to learn time zones when it comes to GMT and especially CET, working closely with countries like Sweden and Germany, etc. So I believe that is the correct time. Unless it's daylight savings time, then I don't really know. Daylight savings time tends to throw stuff up. Anywho, that's a whole nother subject. We got some more gaming coming at you today, and looking forward to hanging out with you, chat. Those tuning in. As I've mentioned in my social media posts for this stream, there's a lot that happened in sports over the weekend, so I figured making this stream about, of course, playing Ultimate Rivals, but while playing, also talking about how the weekend played out. A lot of sporting events taking place and a lot of news as a result. Of course, the big news being my Los Angeles Lakers are your official NBA champions. And certainly excited for that. For those that have listened to me before, may know that I am an LA Lakers fan. No, I'm not a bandwagon fan. I actually grew up in San Diego, is where I grew up, and my father grew up in Los Angeles, and he raised me to be a LA Lakers fan, essentially. So I've been one since I really started following basketball, which has been, I would say, since the mid-90s is when I really started to get into it again, something else I've mentioned before. So huge Kobe Bryant fan when he was obviously drafted in 96 and then played his 20 years in the league. But yeah, that goes back to the Lakers winning the championship. And, you know, I told this to my wife where it was such an odd feeling because for obvious reasons, yes, there's with COVID and everything and the reset of the season, the fact it's played in a bubble, that was, I suppose that it's safe to say that was part of it, where it's just like, not that this championship doesn't mean that they actually won a championship, because, I mean, they did. They deserved it. They won the NBA Finals. They are the champions. They have the trophy. It will go down in the history books, yada, yada. But it was also the matchup for them in the finals. It was probably their easiest matchup since they played the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it was in the early 2000s, the AI 76ers, where they won that series 4-1, I believe, as well. I guess they won the series 4-2, but again, the Heat is a really good team, and if they can keep the majority of that lineup together, especially led by Jimmy Butler, they are going to be a serious contender in the East for the next 3 to 4 years at least, if not more. And it's also a destination for a lot of stars to want to go to, being Miami. So, as we've seen before, wouldn't be surprised if they're able to get another big name star in the next year or two. Who knows what they can pull off coming up? But this year they had obviously a great run through the Eastern Conference, but I did not expect them to do well in the finals. I called it a 4-1 series initially. I will admit that. I was very surprised when it went to a 6th game. I was like, what's going on? But the Lakers made a big statement in that 6th game. They were up by like 30 points in the second half. And they finally officially closed it out. I mean, when you have two of the best players in the NBA on the same team, and one of the most dominant players we've ever seen in NBA history, you should win those finals. So they did, and it was good to see. What's up, everyone? See the chat starting to get a little active now. I've just been talking about the NBA Finals that was played specifically on Sunday, the Game 6 that got the Lakers their championship title. Anger's a Knicks fan. That's hilarious. I can't imagine being a New York Knicks fan. I will say, especially being an NBA fan, you know, in the mid-90s when I started becoming one, like I talked about, the New York Knicks, they were a lot of fun to watch through the late 90s, even into the early 2000s, I want to say. They had some great rivalries in the playoffs, specifically against Miami and Indiana. They were a very physical team in those days. But but yeah, hey, as a Lions fan, I can relate to the expectations being pretty high every year, it feels like, and just not even that, I guess. It's just more like the many, many years of just pure disappointment. In the 99-2000 next season, yeah. Of course, with Patrick Ewing, he was quite the force for that squad. Oh yeah, found it. Tyson is not a bad idea. Oh, when is Mike Tyson going to be in the game? I would love to see Mike Tyson in the game. I truly would. Mike Tyson isn't necessarily a huge role model when it comes to off the court stuff, of course, but, or I guess outside of the rink, is that the way to say it? Outside of the boxing ring, but in the boxing ring and the training he did, it is phenomenal. What he put himself through and the results that showed as a result of what he did. Like, so he was very respectable in that sense. You know, similar, I've actually talked about it before, Dennis Rodman is one of my favorite players the whole time in the NBA. And, you know, he's a similar idea where off the court, not necessarily somebody you want to, you know, live your life after, especially his many, many years of just pure partying every single night. But when it came to on the court and training and everything, he was very legitimate. He was very real. And Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell. Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Mr. Cornrows. Mr. Getting in fight with coaches. It happens. Hangers in Oakley. Yeah, Charles Oakley and Dennis Rodman definitely had their feud. Sprewell is coming. Well, I didn't want to say anything, but we'll see. The court, Ultimate Rivals The Court is definitely going to bring a plethora of new athletes to the game and to the franchise, as we're all excited for. So, oh, I saw you got timed out there. The bot's a little sensitive when it comes to caps. I've adjusted that. I thought I made it a lot better, but I see your message. Marcos Alonso NASCAR. Is it on PC? Not as of right now. Ultimate Rivals is still Apple Arcade exclusive at this time. But as we have stated many, many times before, and we are certainly passionate and understand that the market is there for it. A PC market, console, etc. is definitely in the future. But as of right now, Apple Arcade. And we are certainly happy with that at the same time. It's Apple Arcade, although a newer platform, has only been out just over a year now. It's honestly, the idea of it is, I think it's a pretty legit idea, especially nowadays with all the subscription services out there. For $5 a month, you get access to I want to say 100 plus games easily on your Apple devices. That's, when you really think about it, that's insane value. Now, obviously, you know, depending on what kind of games you want to play, but I wouldn't be surprised if, as time goes on too, they're able to get, you know, bigger titles and everything that will draw more interest in as well. But honestly, there's a lot of hidden gems on the Apple Arcade, and I don't want to call Ultimate Rivals a hidden gem necessarily, because I like to believe it's bigger than that, but it is, of course, one of the, if not the best one on there. No bias here. PS4 controller works seamlessly. I use an Xbox controller personally. I grew up on Xbox. But yeah, PS4's wireless controller certainly works as well. Only good game is this. Again, preference. I've actually there's a couple other ones that I've tried. I'm actually blanking on the names right now, but that have been fun. There's a skateboarding one that's actually pretty fun to play on it as well. This game changes is also. Yeah, as we've stressed, there's certainly a lot to come when it comes to. Let's try to queue for 1v1 matchmaking, see if anyone else is. See if we can get that working. Again, we've had this issue with Apple TV connection, unfortunately to others, not working all the time. So, but if anyone wants to play, maybe queue up and see if we can get a match in. Must not be that good if you can't think of the names. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here a lot. I don't play Apple Arcade all day, every day. I'm a PC gamer. I grew up playing Xbox somewhat, but I've always considered myself more of a PC gamer in the end. But as a result of getting this job and at the beginning of the year, I naturally became curious and more on Apple products and Apple Arcade especially, and so I've played around with it a little bit. But yeah, I top my head, I cannot name some names right now, but I've definitely played some that are somewhat enjoyable. What PC games do I play? Right now, I've been playing a lot of Valorant. It's the Riot first-person shooter. I grew up on Counter-Strike. Was actually Counter-Strike 1.3 specifically was where I really started becoming a competitive gamer in the late 90s there into the early 2000s. Aging myself a bit, I know. So naturally, so I guess working off of that, I've always been a Counter-Strike fan. I eventually got into MOBAs and Dota, Heroes of New Earth, and Dota 2, etc. But I've always followed Counter-Strike Go and, played it a bit on the side too. I've also played games like Team Fortress, classic Team Fortress 2, and Overwatch a little bit when it initially came out at least. I've been a huge fan of those kind of games, these first-person shooters, a mix of the class-based and not. So Valorant for me was like the great connecting of both. It has great gunplay as well as fantastic use of abilities. Yeah, it's grown on me quite a lot. So I'm a huge Valorant fan now. So I'm playing that a bit. World of Warcraft. I am a WoW nerd. I've also been playing that since vanilla in 2005. So been playing that for 15 years, and I do plan to play Shadowlands. In fact, the pre-patch, if anyone follows WoW, the pre-patch for Shadowlands just came out. It should be live here in the matter of the next hour or so within the change up our outfits a little within retail. So maybe try some of that later tonight. Do I ever stream Valorant? On my personal stream, I do every now and then. Obviously not here, but on my personal stream, I certainly get some of LeBron James, Mr. New NBA champion. His 4th NBA championship. But yeah, I'm more of these online multiplayer kind of games player. I've usually always been that. Earlier on, I actually, especially when I was more in a console growing up, I was a huge sports game fan. So kind of leads into one of the reasons why I'm super pumped to be working for a company like Bitfry Game Studios, of course, with Ultimate Rivals. I grew up playing, the NBA 2Ks, early Maddens, NFL Blitz, NHL Hits, etc., all these kind of sports games. And I guess a connection from that, so for people that don't necessarily know my personal career, I've been involved in esports for the last 10 plus years, mainly as a esports commentator. Specifically in games like, there was one, Heroes of New Earth was one that I was really big in for a good 5-6 years there. I worked for the company S2 Games with them as well. But I got into that in the first place, into esports commentating, because I was trying out traditional sportscasting initially. I was doing some radio broadcasting, traditional sportscasting, on a very amateur level, doing high school games, some college games in the Southern California area, actually, where I grew up in. And one day I was like, you know what? Let's try commentating video games, because this was 2009, 2010, so about 10 plus years ago. It wasn't really a big thing yet by any means. It was still very, very new. Twitch didn't exist, but Justin TV did, for those that know what that is. Of course, that's what Twitch was before. There were a couple of these live streaming services, but even like YouTube was still fairly new in that day. But the point is, there was software out there if you knew what you're looking for. That it was very janky, it was somewhat complex to set up, but one day I finally gave it a shot, and at the time I was playing Heroes of New Earth, which was Dota 1.5, you could also call it. And I just started commentating that. I just hosted public lobbies. People would join, and I would commentate the matches. Just commentate random public games. Started to do some tournament games. And then eventually I got reached out by the CEO of what was S2 Games at the time, the creators of Heroes of New Earth, to work for them. And that's what kind of started my journey towards truly being a professional in the esports industry and video game industry. And here I am 10 years later now, work with Bitfire Game Studios. I began with them at the beginning of this year, actually, in January. LeBron James, can't stop him. So my title with the company is the VP of Competitive Gaming Strategy, or VP of Esports, for short, I like to say. You may be asking yourself, wait, where's the esports scene then? Well, it's coming. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. But one of my tasks with the company is not only organizing our eventual esports scene to come with down the line here and work with certain organizations as well, but doing some content creation and from there some commentating. That's kind of ties in with trying to help direct and help foster an esports scene. Is going to get to do some commentating once we really do get that kicked off. So I'm super pumped for that. Because I guess that the original point was, being that I have that history of being a traditional sportscaster, being able to commentate on a sports video game, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. A random as me is talking to Ben. Yeah. Hey, it's funny how things work out sometimes. It really is. Like, thinking back, it's just, yeah, it's just like certain things that I did, or just a random call I got from an old friend, etc. You know, that led to one thing or another, and then sure enough, you're somebody you wouldn't expect. I mean, frankly, I had no clue what Ultimate Rivals or Bitfire Game Studio was a year ago. A year today, I didn't even know this game or company existed. Technically, the game did not exist yet because it was actually released in December. But point is, sometimes you never know. I was actually doing freelance casting at the time for Dota 2 specifically. I was doing a lot of that. LeBron! Yeah, Violent JD, you definitely are not alone with that reaction. I will say at PAX, PAX was like the first public event that we did back in March before everything really started to blow up with COVID and restrictions, etc. But it's really awesome that we at least got to do that, because that, I think, showed, I already kind of knew it was going to be the case, but for a lot of people within our company, especially designers on the game, etc., it really showed them what we have here, and that the potential, it kind of proved a point, right? Like, people like working at the company certainly are very confident with this product, but it's hard to really see that when it's not there in front of you. But PAX allowed us to, with all these random people coming to pass by and play Ultimate Rivals and try it out and see their pure live reactions in front of us. It's you could tell we got something special here. So we're all certainly very aware of that. And again, as the statement I like to use is, this is just the beginning. Breakaway wrist shot buffs. What exactly do you mean by that? I haven't even used an ultimate today. Fair enough. Fair enough. Get back here. Yeah, it's also a game too. I know we've discussed this before, but it's fun to watch. I think others could vouch for it. It's fairly fun to watch too, but until you actually play it yourself, it's hard to understand what's really going on. Kind of like a fighting game, right? Where you can appreciate watching Street Fighter or whatever, but until you actually kind of play it yourself and understand what these players are doing and how they're doing it, it is hard to grasp what it takes to do that. Violet, I know you're a Tekken player, right? So I'm sure you could appreciate that logic, especially in a game like Tekken, right? Like, I'm not a huge fighting game scene player necessarily. I've always been a fan of watching it and respecting what it is. But I know Tekken's considered one of the more technical fighting games out there. It's just you and the goalie. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. I see what you're saying, though. I think I do. What? I'm gonna throw baseballs at you now. Get back here. He's like, in my face. Come on. Why can't I hit you? Like it matters. Dish it off to LeBron. He'll take care of the rest. Just like IRL. You're a hockey fan, yeah? Growing up in Southern California, I can't say I was a huge hockey fan. I came to appreciate it a bit more when I moved to Michigan. That's where I live now, for obvious reasons. It's a little more, it's a tad more popular out here in Michigan. I will say, we have like some amateur teams in the area. I have not been to a Detroit Red Wings game yet. I do want to go. They have a nice new arena there as well. Eventually want to go here. But I've been to both our local college, which is Western Michigan University, and they happen to be really good despite not being, a Power 5 conference team. As well as, like, we have an amateur team in the area. Real life hockey experience as an observer is entertaining. It's I think a strong argument can be made. It's actually the most entertaining to watch in person. Islanders had a solid year. Yeah, Islanders got to the semifinals, right? Let's get some JJ Watt. Yeah, being a fan from one of those cities, and one of those cities meaning Chicago or New York, or I guess LA to an extent now too, especially where you have multiple teams representing the city for a lot of these sports. It's kind of hard for me to have pity for those fans, to be honest. I don't know, that might be wrong to say. Like, I guess, like, I understand that cheering for the White Sox is much different than cheering for the Cubs, and there are certainly different fan bases. But at least you have two teams to choose from. I don't know. They all suck. I mean, Yankees aren't... they lost to Tampa Bay this year, I guess, but... The football teams are horrible, you're right. I guess the hockey teams were, as I said, the Islanders were okay this year. Baseball... Mets did nothing. You got the Yankees that at least got to the playoffs. And then what am I missing? Basketball, the Knicks? Well, yeah, that's the Knicks. I don't know. Do you count Brooklyn? Is it wrong for me to say Brooklyn is a New York team? Yeah, being a Knicks fan, I guess I can kind of understand that, because they are definitely one of these teams where it's like the expectations are always pretty damn high because of who they are and where they are from. Yet unfortunately you have an owner that, well, you know. Depends if they win. Fair enough. Well, this next season's going to be fun. Because the Eastern Conference is just going to get better now. Now you have the Heat, people realize is a legit contender. You have the Brooklyn Nets with Durant and Kyrie Irving all of a sudden being a very legit contender. You have Golden State Warriors are going to come back from their injuries as well as have an early draft pick because of this horrible season they just had. Honestly, the NBA in this next season is going to be a lot of fun. I still think the Lakers are going to win it all because of this guy named LeBron James. But the season itself should be a lot of fun whenever it gets started. And who the hell knows when that's going to be? No. Depends if AD stays. He's going to stay. Wait, is he on a 1 year? Hold on, though. Okay. So he is on a 1 year here, but they can offer him up to a $202 million 5-year deal in this offseason. Or he could sign a 2-year deal potentially. So I don't know. To me, like, he could potentially make more money somewhere else. Yes. Like, what if he goes somewhere like Miami? You know, I was just talking about that earlier, where if Miami, a destination that players certainly wouldn't mind going to, is able to pick up another legit top 10 player, then they would really be serious contenders for the whole thing. But that would be hilarious. But also sad at the same time. I don't know. AD seems like the kind of guy that respects and appreciates what LeBron James, in this case, did for him. By not only enticing him to come out to LA, but playing his own, like LeBron playing his ass off, having one of the best finals ever at the age of 37 years old, and getting him a championship. Like, I feel like that means something to a guy like Anthony Davis, right? Not every player, not Kawhi Leonard, that's for sure. But AD seems like the kind of player that's the case. So I guess maybe that's the Laker bias in me and the hopefulness that that'll be the case, but we'll see. So you see it when he was alone with the Harden there, by the way. Interesting. Okay. So basically it's almost like a buff that you potentially receive if you're alone. So it, like, I guess you could say it almost entices you, one, to have a skater that's just faster than everyone else and gets in that buff zone, or you knock the other two out and get yourself open for that power shot. I can see that. All H-Town with the beard and Watt combo. Yeah. I didn't even think about that when I chose these two. That's funny. That is true, though. All Houston. Speaking of that, the Texans are not doing too well this season. Go. No. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, like I said, I'll definitely talk. I'm always down to talk strategy and talk, just insights and potential ideas, etc. on the game. Which, speaking of that, for those everyone tuning in, obviously we have our Discord, discord.gg/Ultimate Rivals. We can chat there about that stuff. So if you want to have a conversation there as well, certainly feel free. Not only with myself, but devs that actually work on the game will likely be there to answer too. we have so many amazing athletes in the game. Appreciate that, and let's just say that's been a lot of effort and hard work over the years to make that happen. So we understand that getting the licensing that we were able to get with all the PAs for all these leagues was not easy. But obviously we've made it happen, and now it's about making a game around it that makes it very worth it, right? And we are super happy with the initial result that we got here in Ultimate Rivals the Rink. And as we keep stressing, the court is going to be coming out sooner than later, and much more to come too. So do appreciate that, though. No. Oh yeah. It certainly it should bring back that feeling. The CPU is a little tougher. What kind of fun combo could we go with? Oh, speaking of that, we could go with. Wait, is Durant in the rink? He is, right? Yeah. There we go. Get our Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, two Brooklyn boys. Gotta play in New York City. Give them a buff, you know? No, that's behind the net. Yeah, obviously that's one of the more unique things that we're super excited with too, with the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. Having the 6 athletes from that currently in the game, and when the WNBA players, I believe there's 3 currently in the game, if I'm not mistaken. So certainly more to come, especially with the court coming out. But having the female athletes as well to be able to compete with, it's a really cool, you know, feeling. Obviously, being able to do that, right? Because a lot of sport titles up until very recently, I know, very recently, games like the NBA 2K Madden, or I guess more so NBA 2K. You do have access to play some of the WNBA teams of players, but you know, putting them on that even playing field. I think in a lot of ways they certainly do deserve to be, and the soccer athletes, especially in this game, Soccer Ultimate's arguably the best Ultimate in the game. So, and there's certainly a couple. Alex Morgan is one of my favorites to play. I know I'm not alone in that. Stolen. Goal. Oh, I thought that was a goal for sure. All right, we got ourselves a game here. Got crossover though. Kyrie driving. Come on, that's a steal. No. I got the crit shot. What? I accidentally switched. No, it's gonna be a goal. What the busser? What would I say is the hardest part of the game to master? Hardest part to master. Aim passing effectively is pretty difficult to do. Like I'm talking about there, if you hold on the pass button, you get these arrows that pop up, and you can shoot the puck in that direction. So like aim passing like that to keep away from the opponent. So say if they activate an ultimate and it's 2v1, you can do that to make it so their ultimate timer is not used effectively, is the idea at least, to keep it away from them. So that's pretty good. And as Violent JD pointed out, the checking is definitely one of the more difficult things to do in Ultimate Rivals the Rink. But if you do it well, it is very powerful. And as I've shown on stream a couple times, there's some of these athletes have the high checking athletes, especially the bigger guys. They can be brutal to play against. But the thing with checking too, so you can charge up your check to do more damage essentially, or knock out more of their stamina. But honestly, light checking, in my opinion, is most of the time the way to go. Because when you do the super check, it takes not only a little bit of time to activate, but it's likely to miss. It's not easy to land. Do we ever see retired players running our game? That's something we've certainly been looking into more and more as time has gone on. Obviously, we already have a couple. Wayne Gretzky being the obvious. Wait, is there anyone else in the game currently that is retired? I guess Wayne Gretzky is the only one right now. But to answer your question, very likely. I'll leave it at that. I will say, being very candid about it, the licensing that we've had initially, like the NBA PA, for example, it doesn't necessarily give you access to retired players from history, right? So it's like a different deal that has to be worked out, essentially. Oh, that went in. I think the buzzer went out just before. Such a cool concept, absolutely, man. And again, the continuing. We have a team of. I don't know the exact stuff, so I don't want to say it, but we have a lot of employees working on this game. Currently, of course, remote in a lot of cases. We officially have a studio out in New Hampshire. But the team continues to grow. It almost surprises me, too, how it continues to grow so much. But I think it's just more and more evident that we're serious what we're doing here. We understand, especially with the licensing, what we have at our fingertips and how unique it really is, and the concept and the potential that's there, / what we already have. We're bound to be big. I mean, you go to our CEO's Twitter, Ben Friedland. He's I don't want to put words in his mouth, but you can read through his Twitter and understand the vision and what we really believe we have here in this product. Gotta run back to work. Definitely. Appreciate it, William. Be sure to hit that follow button. And like I said, hang out on Discord if you'd like to. Appreciate the kind words. Might as well. No! See, right there, a light check. Although I didn't get the puck. Go figure. What was that? What? Why did he shoot it? I don't think that was supposed to be a shot. Fade away. Three points. Durant just finds it. It's kind of crazy that we went through a whole year without seeing Kevin Durant. Golden State master plan, yeah, right. Totally. We were talking about this earlier. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll do sure, we'll just throw Alex Morgan in there. We'll go to WNBA player as well. Let's do till dawn. Mahomes in there. Boom. Oh, thought that was going to go in. Oh, get the puck. All right, see you, Violent JD. Sounds good, man. Haha. They're done. Oof. Sweet pass. Oof. Or with the strong leg. No. Intercepted. What the hell just happened? Sometimes you score quickly. I did not deserve that goal. It is crazy how much different it is playing against the AI compared to a person. You know, as is the case with a lot of AI just in any game. There are some patterns that you can kind of pick up on and abuse as a result, right? Where, like in this case, charge shooting against the AI is a lot more easier to do than an actual person. And like, right as I say that, of course, he steals the puck from me as I'm doing a charge shot. But against a person, ideally they'll be pretty good about realizing you're going for the charge shot and just steal it. Because when you're going for a charge shot, for those that don't know, which is holding down the shoot button like that, and I do that because there's this crit shot timing where no matter how much endurance the goalie has, if you hit the crit shot, they'll start blinking red and become vulnerable to getting scored against. So like right there, now he's vulnerable to be scored against, making it a lot easier to score the goal, and boom. So that's like one of the easiest, more effective ways to score in Ultimate Rivals the Rink. But with the AI, so as I was saying, the downside of it though is that when you're doing the charge shot like this, they could just steal it. If they press the steal button in front of you, ideally you should just take the puck away. A player, if they realize like a pattern of yours, you're going up for a charge shot constantly, they'll just hit the steal button and ideally, snatch it out of your control. But the AI isn't necessarily as effective with that, unfortunately. You know what we're going to do here? We're going to do this. We're going to get a little cheesy. We're going to... Oh, I didn't have the ball! Or the puck! Whatever it is! Where's the puck? I want a 3! Okay, got the 3. No. Run away. No. Intercepted. Whoops. He just stole it from a crossover. That's interesting. No, my shutout. Oof. Alright, we'll do one more game. Let's do a random lineup. There we go. Oh, I actually like Giancarlo Stanton. And I have Brad Marchand as my wing. And Kevin Durant as goalie. Bring it on, Kawhi Leonard. God, the crack of the bat. That's honestly one of the more sad. Like, this game's sound design is actually really solid too, in my opinion. Again, no bias. But no, it truly is. I really think that. But the crack of the bat is still one of the more satisfying sounds in the game for sure. I'm so glad we put in the sports-specific shooting along with the deking. Ooh. Crack. crack. Get stolen. Just becomes so easy. Got him. Get those bits. Oops. Ouch. Why is my stamina going down? Oh, I was holding on turbo on accident. That's funny. I actually didn't know that. My left trigger button is also turbo. I've always just used the right trigger button for turbo. But the left trigger button apparently is also turbo as well, huh? I honestly never knew that. Well, today I learned. Ow. There we go. No, my shutout. Oh, there you go. Nice block.
Just vibing with the music right now. GG. All right. I think that's a good stopping point, though. Got our hour stream in. Feels good. Had some good discussion. Want to thank everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed Inside Ultimate Rivals once again every Tuesday and Thursday here at 3 p.m. Eastern on this very stream, twitch.tv/Ultimate Rivals. Yeah, looking forward to, as always, not only every day doing this, but the weeks to come and with more game updates. But I will say there's something in the works for when it comes to the stream side of things, too, that I'm excited to hopefully get going here in the near future to help spice things up, I think you could say, a little bit when it comes to the streams as well. But again, want to thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I was Breaking CPK, and I'll see you on Thursday. Enjoy Ultimate Rivals. Check out our Discord, all social media. See you next time.